Hi guys, so I know a lot of people are struggling with data capturing when it comes now to just going onto the online systems. Maybe you still have your old receipts or your old quotations or your old invoices and you're trying to bring them all into your system so you can actually do your analytics and actually just have a digital copy of everything. There's an easy way for you to do it using three things. In my case, I'm just using Power Automate, my OneDrive, and an Excel workbook. So essentially I just want a situation where if I add anything into this folder in an invoice or a quotation, it should automatically just populate the information and just add it onto my OneDrive file right here, which is my Excel file. So let me just create the flow. First of all, as I mentioned, I've already got the drive set up. I've already got my Excel book saved called quotes. Let me just come back here so you can see it's already created called quotes, and I created a table which is supposed to get my invoice information, which is just the date, number, client, address, product, quantity, and the total. So that's all that's coming in. And just to make sure you know exactly what the name of the table is, if we go to table design, you should find I actually renamed it to quotes as well. So if I go back to my Power Automate, please take note I might be pausing here and there during the video because some things might just take a bit more time than normal, so I'll just be pausing as we go. So I'm just on Power Automate. I'm going to create an automated cloud flow. And as I said before, in this example, I just want a situation whereby if I add in a new document, it just collects all my quotations. So this is just going to be a quotation folder. So I'll just call this quotes to Excel example. Then the trigger, this is a OneDrive file, so I want it whenever I add in a new OneDrive file. So when a file is created, and I am looking for OneDrive for business, not just OneDrive. So OneDrive for business, when a file is created, and then create, this will start creating my flow, and then I will start from there. Right, so it has started my flow. So my trigger is when a file is created. Let me add in the parameters. So where exactly is the folder that I'm talking about? And I'm connected to my account, which is correct. Selecting the folder. And remember I called the folder INV, I believe. Just checking. Yes, my file's INV. That's the folder I'm checking for. So from my OneDrive for business, I'm looking for root, and then I look for the folder called INV. There we go. So essentially I'm simply saying when a new document is added into this particular folder. Once I have done that, all I need to do is just leave here the parameters, and then I go to the next step. The next step that I want to do again is from the OneDrive. I want to get the actual information from that file. So again, OneDrive. Let's just wait for this to open up. So again, OneDrive for business. Please make sure you're on OneDrive for business. If you're using 365, if you're using personal, just use the normal OneDrive. And then what I want to get is the content. So I'm getting the file content. That's the next step I want to get from the file that I've just uploaded. And where is the file? If I just hit a backslash, opens up my dynamic content, and I am looking for the file identifier. So essentially I'm just simply saying get the file information from the file that I've just uploaded. Then the next thing I want to do is to add rows to an Excel file. So I'm just going to say add rows. This should open up quickly. There we go. So I'm looking for add rows. So this is Excel Online for Business. Add rows to a table. And then no, before I actually do that, let me delete this. I actually want to use the AI now before I actually add, because I just got the content. I didn't actually pull the information from it. So I'm deleting this step, and I'm going to add in the step whereby I'm actually getting the information using AI. So the next step, I've gotten the file content. I'm going to my AI builder, and I'm getting my invoice information. There we go. Get information from invoices. Where exactly is it getting that information from the invoices? It should have gotten the content from what I just pulled before. So dynamic content, it is getting from get file content, the file content itself. Once I've gotten that file content, now I can pull that file content into an Excel file. So now I can then add in the rows. So Excel Online for Business, that's the one I'm looking for, and I am looking for rows. Add rows into a table, which is what I want to do. So where exactly is the file that I'm actually adding the information into? So I'm just going to go back, just making sure I'm connected to my account, which is correct, connecting to my OneDrive for business. Remember, I saved again this file in my OneDrive, same folder, quotes, INV, and the file is called quotes. So I'm in my folder, the document library that I'm looking for, which is the folder. So come on, which is going to be my OneDrive. Then the file that I'm actually looking for, I will need to open up, and as you can see, it's actually logged into my OneDrive, and I'm looking for INV. Where are you? INV. Come on. And then once I'm in INV, I am now looking for quotes. That's the file I'm looking for. And now that I've connected to that, remember I mentioned I actually created a table in my Excel file called quotes as well. So I need to mention as well that I am actually getting that information and adding it into the table called quotes. Here's the next part I want to mention. It's getting information from my PDF, and please take note, this can also be a scanned PDF. I'm going to specify what I want to pull out, which is going to be my date, which is correct, invoice date. I am getting it from the content that has been gotten out, extracted information, and from that I'm looking for invoice date. There we go. Add it in. I'm looking for the invoice number. Again, dynamic backslash dynamic content, invoice number, invoice ID in my case. Then the client, again, is pulling it again from the PDF, and again I haven't added in the PDF yet, but I should be able to. So I can say see more information. I am now looking for customer ID, no, customer name. Just search for it, customer name, and then I am now looking for their address, which is probably going to be their billing address if I'm not mistaken. Dynamic content, now I'm looking for billing. Okay, not sure what happened there. So again, address, dynamic content, I am now looking for billing. Yep, I'm looking for the billing address. Now for the product quantity and total, this is coming from the table itself, like from the actual invoice, which is going to be the line information. So if I say line, again, this is the dynamic content I'm looking for. This is coming from the actual invoice, the line information. So if I say line, I am now looking for the line. Just look for item, line. Okay, I'm gonna keep scrolling down. Yeah, line item description. That's the product I'm looking for. Next up is the quantity. This is also coming in from line. Okay, dynamic again. Dynamic content, and this is again a line item, which is going to be the quantity line quantity. And if you've noticed what it's just done for me here, it said for each. So it means even if I've got 7 or 8 or 9 different things in my table, in my quotation, it's going to create a row for each and every one of them. That's why it said for each of all of them. And then I'm now looking for the line total. So let's just come back in here, dynamic content again, and let's look for the line total, line amount. There we go. Once I've done this, we're ready to go. Let me save it and let's test it out. Okay, so it's been saved. Let's test it out and see if it actually works. So I'm just going to go into my test mode, and actually let me adjust something. I don't want to be waiting over a minute for this to start working. So when a file is created, I want to just wait for, let me just say 15 seconds. 15, and the frequency is going to be seconds. So it will be looking for a new file every 15 seconds. So once I do that, again, let me save and test again. Okay, so it's been saved. Let me test it out. I'm just going to my test mode and I'm going to manually test it out. So manually trigger it, which means I'm going to need to add the file into it and then test. So let's test it out. It's waiting to see if it will work. Let me go to my OneDrive. I already have an invoice. I want to try it out, like estimate quick 64. Let me just copy it into my folder. As soon as that file has been uploaded, let's come back to our Power Automate and see if our flow has started. And it should start in a few moments. There we go. It has started. It's created so that the file has been created. It's got the file content. It's extracting the information, and it should add the file information into my table as I had asked it to do. Let's just see if this will work out and see the results. Right, that took roughly 2, 3, 5. So that's about 40 seconds for it to complete. Let me go into my table, and there we go. Didn't even need to refresh. All my information has been added in and we're good to go. That is how you can actually do it using Power Automate. So let me actually test it again. Let me add in another document to see if it actually works. Let me take another quotation. Let me just take quote 59, estimate 59, and add it in, and this flow should already be running. Let me just come back to my flows and see if it is actually run the second time. Give me a check. As you can see, it's actually currently running for the second one, and let's see if the results will show up in just a couple of seconds. Let's see. And as you can see, it has added in the next row. This was not there, added in that other row. There we go. And that is how you can actually do it using Power Automate. Thank you for watching and catch you on the next one.